Well, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video where we're going to be basically talking about more Scream 7, obviously, you guys can see. Um, we're going to be talking about Dewey's return. Now, a lot of people has been wanting, for him to return and all that, into to this film. Like a lot of people just don't want to believe that he died for some which is understandable because he was everybody loved his character. Um, so I really don't think that we're gonna physically like see him in this movie or anything like that. I just think that we're gonna probably the. I think the only thing that we'll probably get is probably like an Easter egg. That's probably the number one thing that we probably will get. Um, I don't really see him coming back as like a character or anything like that, like what people believe, that what people want. I just don't think that he would survive, all those stabs. But then again, we never really know, I guess. Um, so yeah, I really don't think that Dewey's gonna like return, like in physical form. I do think that he will come back. I do believe that he will come back one way or another, in like a maybe like a dream sequence or something like that. Maybe we see like his gravestone or something. Um, but that I think that's about it. I don't think that we're gonna see him physically in the movie because obviously I don't believe that. I understand movies ain't realistic nowadays. I just don't believe that he's gonna come back and survive all them stabs that he took. Like he took a lot of stabs, just as much as like he got stabbed to death. There's just no way that he survived that, and I understand people want it. I definitely want it as well, but I don't think it's gonna happen personally. It's I mean, a lot of people. I had my theories about like Scream 1996. I don't know if you guys watched my videos a while back, but I made a video about Scream 1996, and I was talking about the possibility of him possibly being like the mastermind of of that film. And the reason why I say that is because he just seemed like he was like kind of suspicious in that whole film. And there's been a lot of theories out there. A lot of people were saying the same thing about um Scream 1996 when he was just acting weird, suspicious, and there's a whole bunch of clues in that film. Um, a lot of people were asking like, why did he have the robe? How come he had Sydney's phone number and all that? Just a lot of weird things, right? A lot of people were saying that he was the one that was talking to Sydney on the phone. You know, there's a lot of weird theories that I tend to believe because there's too much evidence. But then again, I don't think if they do bring Dewey back, he's not going to be a mastermind. I that's the reason why I don't think it makes sense. I want him back. I want to see him back. I wish he hadn't got killed or anything. But I just don't really believe that they're gonna bring him back and um, bring him back as a mastermind at this point. If they were going to do that, Wes Craven would have already done it. Possibly in Scream 4 or even Scream 3. If he was planning on doing anything like that. Um, so I really don't think that they're going to do that at this point. And even if he was a mastermind, I think it's just too late in the game to bring him back. Into the movie as a mastermind. I just think it's too late in the game now. Um, so yeah, I don't really know like what else there is gonna be. Like I don't know like I just say that we're possibly gonna see like his gravestone. And then another thing too, and I was talking about this as well, that we may get the Scream 3 voice changer back. Now that's a possibility. with all the technology that we have today, with all the the new things that you could do now, compared to back then, like I really do believe that they could bring back the voice changer from Scream 3. Now, I was talking about the idea of possibly like having Ghostface like called like Gale, and then all of a sudden it's like Dewey's voice or something like that. Now that would be like crazy. That would be heartbreaking. Um, I would be terrified by like I would love it, because it's something new that. And I think that's what they'll possibly do, and that's one another way to bring him back. He doesn't have to be because I just don't like I like Dewey. I just don't feel like he's gonna come back physically. Because again, I know that Chad survived all those stabs. He got stabbed like multiple times. He survived that. So I mean, it's not under the realm of possibility, but I just don't think that it's gonna happen at this point. I just think if they're gonna bring Dewey back, it's gonna be through like Easter eggs. Like maybe you see, like I said, his gravestone. Maybe you hear him talk to Gale on the phone, and Ghostface like has like a voice changer from Scream 3 or something like that. Like I think that's maybe the only way we see him, the only way that we hear him or like have any kind of mention of him in the film is if we see his gravestone and we hear his voice on the phone. But other than that, I really don't think that he's going to come back physically. Again, it's too late in the game, and especially if listen, guys, I really love Dewey. Like I really loved his character. It's kind of unfortunate the way they did, his character in the end. But I just don't think that they're going to bring him back at this point. It's just too late. I believe, and if they were going to bring him back, if he was a mastermind, like I was talking about, um, if he was a mastermind, like I was talking about, they're not going to bring him back as a mastermind. Like I think Wes Craven would have did that. So yeah, I really don't got anything else. Other than that, there's a lot of people that want to see him one way or another, in this film. And another thing that I want to touch on is that, like, did he know that Stu was alive? And I do believe that he did know that Stu was alive because in that one scene that he was basically talking about, um, he was basically talking about Stu in the present tense. He kind of made it sound like he was still like alive, you know, in that one scene. So I definitely think that's a possibility. And maybe that's why he got killed. I don't know. So, but I really don't. I really want to see Dewey so bad. Like I want to see him back. You know, I really want to see him back, but I just don't think he's gonna be back. Like you know, they're just not gonna bring him back. From the dead like that. Especially if they have like that rule. You get stabbed multiple times, you're dead. And he did. He got gutted. So I don't think his death was like a fatality death, like absolutely just brutalized. So I just don't think he could survive that personally. Sadly, you know, a lot of people want it. A lot of people believe it. A lot of people believe that he was the mastermind all along, and that he knew he set up the events of Scream 3 and all that, and that's what people were saying. And of course, this is all just theories and speculation, you know. Um, and I tend to believe it that he was a mastermind in the beginning, but then maybe they changed their minds at the last. I don't know, but there was just a lot of like Easter eggs in Scream 1996 that kind of showed that he was some kind of like mastermind. And I'm not 100% on it. Like I said, like I was saying, I definitely think that it's a possibility, and I believe, I've watched a lot of videos, a lot of theory videos about it, where people just talk about they basically explain it, like why they believe it so much. Um, but yeah, I just don't think that I don't think that if Dewey does come back, it's only going to be through a dream sequence. That's all I could say. Dream sequence. Um, I think that's the more unlikely scenario. Dream sequence. We see his grave, something like that. We hear him talking on the phone. Um, I think that's the only way I think that we see him. That we like get like an Easter egg or something. He just won't be in the film, sadly. And listen, I understand people want it. People were talking about the whole like they may have like a Dewey funeral and all that. I don't think that they're gonna have a Dewey funeral because I feel like if they were gonna do the Dewey funeral, I feel like they should have did it in Scream 5. You know, that would have made more sense because then you're doing it like directly, like right after his death, instead of waiting 2 movies after to then do it. So I don't think that really makes as much sense. Um, so if they were going to do the funeral, they should have did it in Scream 5, in my opinion. Um, and I don't rule out. I don't rule out anything. I don't rule out like seeing his gravestone. Don't rule out dream sequences. I don't rule out hearing him on the phone when it's actually Ghostface using a voice changer, like in Scream 3. Like I don't rule any of that out. But one thing I do rule out is that I don't think he's going to be back physically. We all love the Dewey character. We all wish that he lived. We all wish that Radio Silence would have left the character alone and would have just said, "Hey, we're going to let him run. We're going to give him the Sydney treatment and let him live his life." I mean, we would have all preferred that. I'm pretty sure. Um, Everybody would have preferred that, but we just didn't. We didn't get that. Like, they ended up they feel people feel that you have to kill a character off, like just to move on. And I just don't really think that you necessarily have to kill a character off. I think there's better ways, to go about it, like maybe having them, going off into the sunset like Sydney, something like that. Maybe him living his life with Sydney or something. Same with Gale. Like you don't have to necessarily kill the old doll just to move off of them. You know, that's just my opinion on that. Like, um, I just feel that there's a lot of better ways to go about it, and I don't feel like they did it. I don't think that his death just wasn't. It just wasn't done right. I didn't have a problem with him dying. If the execution, the only problem I had was the execution. If the execution was right, I would not have a problem with him dying. You know, and that's the thing I always say. Like if they would have done his death better, what's it say if he was like saving Gale or something, and he died, like in like Gale's arm, like he's like she's like holding him or something, and he like dies in her arms or something. I would have preferred that because it seems a lot better than the way that they did it. The fact that he saved everyone and then he turns around and remembers. That you have to shoot him in the head, like when he basically had the chance. Like I just don't really understand that. So that's basically the part I don't like. The part I didn't like, about his death was just the execution of it. And if it was done better, like as I was saying, I already knew that he was going to die. I already knew that. I had predicted that because he did like a commercial, like basically like a goodbye tour, and he did a goodbye tour in for Scream 5 or whatever. He did like some kind of little commercial where he was like in Stu's house. So I mean, we kind of knew, that he was gonna, that he was gonna die. I mean, I kind of knew that. Everyone else knew it. Um, a lot of people felt that Gale should have died instead of Dewey, which I understand in a way, but I think like, I'm kind of 50-50 on it, you know? Like I feel like Dewey was the right choice, but then again, I do feel like Gale should have died over him. Um, but yeah, I don't know what you guys think. What do you guys think about like Dewey possibly returning in Scream 7? And do you guys think that he's gonna at all like do you guys feel that he should come back as a mastermind or no? Because at this point, I don't think that bringing him back as a mastermind, I think that's too late in the game, to do that. I feel like they should have did that in Scream 3, Scream 4, you know. Um, I didn't feel like that's just too late in the game at this point. So I don't really think they're going to do that. And plus, I don't think that he's alive. I just don't. As much as I want it, it's just not the case, sadly. Um, and give me your guys' thoughts in the comments as always, though. I want to hear from you guys down below in the comments. And be sure to hit the like button as always. And until next time, peace out, y'all.